His voice sliced through the air like a blade, sharp and humiliating. "God, you can be so dumb sometimes," he said, loud enough for the laughter and clinking glasses in the chandelier-lit room to fade into stunned silence. 200 faces froze mid-expression, eyes darting between the tall, striking CEO and his elegant wife in her deep purple gown. Her champagne flute hovered in the air, steady but cold, the way a calm ocean hides an undertow strong enough to drown you. The golden light made her skin glow like polished mahogany, but in her eyes, something fierce had just awakened. Before we continue, if you're watching us for the first time, Elliot Stories welcomes you warmly with the biggest hug you can imagine. Glowing star, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. Tell us the city you're watching from. Share this story so more people can join our community of inspiring, real-life tales. Now, let's dive back into this moment you cannot stop listening to. The ballroom seemed to shrink, the floral arrangements wilting under the invisible weight of tension. The guests' smiles turned into tight, nervous lines. A woman in the back awkwardly lowered her phone, having been filming moments before. He, Ethan Callaway, billionaire CEO of Callaway Enterprises, stood beside her, jaw set, his tailored black suit unwrinkled despite the verbal blow he'd just delivered. She, Amora, the woman he had swept off her feet 3 years ago, did not flinch. For a moment, she simply looked at him. Not with shock, not with hurt, but with the kind of steady gaze that makes a man wonder if he's just stepped into a trap he can't escape. Her voice, when it came, was low and almost tender. "You know, Ethan, sometimes, it's in these moments that the truth decides to introduce itself." A few guests shifted in their seats. The chandeliers hummed faintly from the soft vibrations of the air conditioning, but the only other sound was the faint fizz of champagne in crystal flutes. Amora took a graceful step forward, heels clicking softly against the marble floor. "You called me dumb," she said, not breaking eye contact. "And maybe that's what you tell yourself when you need to feel bigger. But here's what you forget," she turned, addressing the crowd now, her voice rising just enough to carry. "Every empire Ethan has built, every deal he's signed, every headline he's claimed, happened because I stood behind him, unseen." The crowd murmured. She paced slowly, like a lawyer in a courtroom, each sentence deliberate. "Do you know who negotiated the Whitmore deal last year when Ethan was in Dubai? Me. Do you know who caught the loophole in the Wexford contract that would have cost his company millions? Me. Do you know who introduced him to the investors he brags about at dinners like this?" She let her gaze sweep the room. "Also me." Ethan's jaw tightened, but his eyes gave away a flicker of panic. Amora turned back to him, and now her voice softened again, dangerously so. "And yet, here we are. You, the man who tells people in private that I'm the smartest woman you've ever met, now branding me as dumb in front of 200 strangers. Tell me, Ethan, was it worth it?" Someone near the front coughed, as if the silence had become too unbearable. Ethan tried to speak, but she raised a hand. "No, don't. Not yet." She walked to the champagne tower in the center of the ballroom, lifted a flute, and held it up. "To all the women here tonight, and the men who respect them, remember this. When someone tries to make you small, it's usually because they know just how big you really are." Glasses were raised cautiously at first, then with growing confidence. "To knowing your worth," someone echoed from the back. She turned again to Ethan, lowering her glass. "You know, I once thought love was about protecting each other in public and fixing mistakes in private. But you've shown me that sometimes, the public deserves to see the truth." She stepped closer until they were just inches apart. "The truth is, Ethan, I'm not the one who looks dumb right now." A low ripple of reactions moved through the room, gasps, a few stifled laughs, and a wave of whispers. Ethan's hand twitched at his side, but he forced a smile, the kind that looked like it hurt. "Amora." She didn't let him finish. "And the funniest part, I was about to make an announcement tonight. Something that would have changed both our lives. But now," she set her champagne down on the nearest table, "I think I'll save it for someone who deserves to hear it first." That line landed like a crack of thunder. He knew what she meant, and the color drained from his face. In the audience, a few of his business associates exchanged uneasy glances. They could see the headlines writing themselves already. Then, in an unexpected twist, she smiled, not with sweetness, but with freedom. "Enjoy your evening, Ethan." And with that, Amora turned, her purple gown flowing behind her as she walked toward the double doors. People moved instinctively out of her way. At the threshold, she paused, looked over her shoulder, and gave a small nod to the guests. "Don't forget, when you know your value, no one's words can bankrupt you." The applause started slowly, just a few claps, but it swelled as she stepped into the cool night air. Somewhere in the city skyline beyond, fireworks burst silently, as if the universe had decided to punctuate her exit. Ethan stood frozen, his reputation unraveling in real time. He glanced around for support, but found only eyes full of judgment, or worse, pity. He had been the star of the evening when the night began. Now, he was the cautionary tale. Outside, Amora's phone buzzed. It was a message from her attorney, confirming the final papers she had requested 2 weeks ago. She smiled faintly. Tonight hadn't been planned this way, but perhaps it had always been inevitable. She walked toward the waiting car, the sound of the party fading behind her. In the reflection of the tinted window, she saw not the woman who had once been overshadowed, but the woman who had just stepped fully into her own light. Moral lesson. Your worth is not determined by someone else's words, especially when spoken in anger or arrogance. Respect in a relationship is not optional, it is the foundation. And when someone tries to belittle you publicly, remember, dignity is your armor, and truth is your weapon. Encouraging word from Elliot Stories. No matter who tries to dim your light, keep shining. Your value isn't up for negotiation, and your story is still yours to write. Stand tall, speak with courage, and never forget, you are more powerful than you think.